Okay, so the secondary hull had some time to dry up and solidify. So now we're ready to move on, and what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the nacelles now. We're going to do the port and starboard nacelles, and there are a couple of changes we need to do. So let's get the nacelles out. So you can see the this would be the starboard nacelle. So there's some flash on here that we're going to need to clean up. So I think what we can do is we'll go ahead and we'll take these off the tree. Look at, guys, can you see how this one doesn't really match up? All of the tabs are in, and the nacelle pylon is perfectly lined up, but if you see, it's off. So we're going to have to address that. The third filming model on, they had the lit Bussard Collectors, but if you guys remember, for the first two pilots and the original pilot, the ship looked different. The deflector dish was larger. It had the running lights, the beacons were pushed back on the bottom of the primary hull. And one of the big things is on the Bussard Collectors, they actually had antennas coming out, and the Bussard Collectors themselves were not lit. So when it comes to doing the Bussard Collectors, you can see, and one of the big differences from the kits of the 60s is they had the bottoms of the Bussard Collectors, those three panels, they were attached to this, where this is just on its own. And according to the box, this will be silver, and the pieces that go underneath will be silver. But what we're going to do is, because these are solid, we're going to actually put these with the antenna coming out the ends, and that was red. The 1/350 scale Enterprise. This was a conversion kit, and what this enabled you to do, when they first came out with the NCC 1701 Club, all of these conversion packs were available in the model. But after the original release, they made all these separate. So if you wanted to make it into the first or second filming model, you could. And this is called the Pilot's Parts Pack. Conversion parts for 1/350 scale USS Enterprise NCC 1701. And you can see the way she looked, she has the antenna on the Bussard Collectors. So this is the way I think we're going to make ours. And you can see some of the markings as well for the pilot. And one of the problems we're going to have is, if you see the end caps of the Bussard Collectors, or the nacelles, excuse me, see how they look? They have the ball at the end. Well, these were flat, and they had the holes. So I think what we're going to do is we got to figure out a way to remove the ball, and we can flatten it out. What I want to do is we're going to make it look like this. Pretty much the other stuff is the same. The intercoolers and everything is in the same positions. The bridge was higher as well on the early filming models. You see the bridge dome with B and C decks. It had that light that was on the front, And this is a good picture of the nacelle cap. You can see that piece, the antenna sticking off. So I don't know what we're going to do to make that shape, but we'll think of something. And again, looking at the end, the nacelle end caps had the holes in it. If they do a color guide for the Bussard Collector, so it's calling for D, and it's stoplight red metallic, the pearl. So I think we're going to try that, and we're going to see how that looks. This is the Tester's Aztec Pearl Red paint. And when it comes to the silver, I do have, that's the white. I do have the silver in the pearl, but I think I want to use the regular Tester's silver paint. I think that'll look better. Again, this is the pearl airbrush paint, and the reason I want to use that is because it's the metallic. It's got more of a metallic finish, which is what we're looking for the Bussard Collector. Let me put a bit on, and I think that's going to work out pretty nice. See how it's got that kind of metallic tint to it? Yeah, I think that's really the effect we're looking for. This is great stuff. Love it. This is perfect. You can see the little metallic, almost like a candy apple. Alright, so let's put that aside to dry. This paint goes on really nicely. I mean, that looks really good. I love that metallic look. I hope the camera picks that up. Let me show you how easy these are going to go on. And just like that, they're on. There's something, at least with me, there's something magical about the Enterprise as she comes together. Just love her. What we're going to do now is, I think we can think about painting the nacelles. So what I like to use, like what we used on the secondary hull, is the Rust-Oleum, and this is the satin finish, because we don't want the high gloss. So this is the satin, and we're going to do the nacelles, and we're going to have to let them dry, because this stuff takes probably about 3 days to cure. Okay, so I painted them, I gave them one coat, and again, one of the problems with living in New England is that it's below freezing outside, and the paint does not react well in the cold. And my wife has made it very clear that she does not want me painting in a house anymore. So I think what we're going to have to do is, these like I said, it's going to take about 3 days for this to cure. So after about 3 days, we'll see how it is, and we might need to give it another coat so we can move on to working on the Bussard Collectors for now. Okay, so the Bussard Collectors had a chance to dry, and again, I love that, the color. And the way we're doing it is the way this one looks. This was the Enterprise as she would appear during the production run. But there were versions of her before this. There were a couple of versions, the pilots and the original pilot, and then she appeared different in the cage, and then went on to be the production version, which this is. But because the Bussard Collectors can't be lit, what we need to do is we need to make it look just like the pre-production model in one of the 2 pilot episodes. You remember when she goes by the planet in the introduction to the series, she's got the antennas on the Bussard Collectors, and she's also got a couple of different things. The nacelles are different in the back, as well as the bridge was different. There's not too much we can do to change the bridge on this model, but we can put the light in the front. We can do a couple of different things. But what I want to address right now is the Bussard Collectors. The antenna, the way it looks. See how ornamental it is. And I'm thinking, now what could I possibly do? I thought of everything from altering a toothpick to maybe the my airbrush cleaning rods to everything in between. So I'm thinking, well, how can I make it look like that? Then almost by chance, my wife was doing her fingernails and she was sitting at the dining room table, and I looked down and I saw something she was using. And when I saw these, I was immediately drawn to the ends. So I asked her what this was, and she said this was a dot tool. And it makes sense, because what you would do is, see the ball? You would put it into the nail polish, and I guess you would use it to dot if you wanted dots. Anyway, when I saw these, tell me what you guys think, but I thought that would be perfect for the antenna. Absolutely perfect. Right down to the ball at the end, and it's wider at the base, and it gradually tapers down to the tip. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to use these, and we're going to put these into the Bussard Collectors. And I think they're going to look absolutely phenomenal. So I guess the first thing we got to do, it's kind of cool the way the handles are, the acrylic, but we don't need the larger ones. We're going to use the two smaller ones, so that would be, see, we've got to make sure that they match these two right here. That was a nice clean break, and that way there she can still use the larger section. Here we are. Like I said, she can still use these. And nice clean breaks. Okay, so we can give those back. So be right about there, and what my plan is, we're going to put this through the back, and it's going to protrude up through the front. So let's do the same thing on this one. Let's see. See right there. And we'll do the other side. And the beauty with that is I don't even know if we're going to have to paint those metal pieces, because they look perfect. Let's see. This was my plan. We're going to pass it through the opening. And see, I think this is going to look really good, but we need to make the hole a little bit larger for this part. So let's see. We'll use the knife and right through. And that's exactly the effect that I had wanted. Fantastic. Okay. Why don't we go ahead, and we're going to heat up the glue gun now. Alright. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the hot glue, and we're going to put this into position. We're going to make sure that it's going to be straight. And again, this couldn't be more perfect from what I was trying to think. So let me show you guys again. So this is the effect that I had wanted, and this is the effect that I got. Even right down to the length and the size, it's just perfect. The Nacelle End Caps off, and again, we're going to remove that now. I'm thinking how we can remove that, and I think the best way is probably to use the drill and just kind of drill it out, and then we'll use the knife to go around the edges. So we gotta get rid of that section. So put the larger bit in. It's going to take a while doing it that way. All right, let's see if we're ready to put in the hot glue. Straight as possible. So, all right, let's put in some of the glue. And the way we need to line it up is, I don't know if you guys can see these little pieces, but this is going to be aimed straight down. So this is how it's going to be on the nacelle. So we're going to make sure it's perfectly straight. Let's put some hot glue in this one as well. So completely solidifying. Again, this is exactly what I wanted. Perfect. All right, see how where we're at right now? Let's see if we can use the knife. And always got to be careful with the knife. You can feel how smooth it is on the inside, and when you look at it from the side view, see how it's the bubble is gone. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover this, and then we're going to fill it with the hot glue. What I'm thinking is we can do it this way. So this is how we're going to put it. Just like that. Again, that's the hope anyway. So let's see if the glue is ready. This one. Make sure all the debris is out. That's really hot. All right, let's check on the other one. This feels like it's solid. See if we can peel off, and let's see if this actually worked. Wow, that actually was pretty cool. Nice and smooth. I mean, it looks clear because it's glue. And there's going to be no light leak. We don't have to worry about it because there are no electronics in the nacelles. And this is nice and smooth. Wow, this worked fantastic. Coming back to this one, it's pretty solid. So let's go ahead and we're going to peel off the wax paper. This one, this came off a little bit easier. And again, it's nice and smooth. It worked perfectly. And the little bubble is gone. And now we can paint it, and we'll put the little circles on. But that's great. That turned out to be a really good idea. I'm glad I did that. There. So the ends of the nacelles are all ready to paint. All right. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut in around the Bussard collector. So I'm going to make sure that those sections are cut in. Okay, so it's been a few days out since we painted the nacelles, and it's actually able to handle them now. And what we can do is, let me just show you where they're going to go into the ship. And this set is pretty easy. They're going to go into the side like that. How cool is that? She's starting to take shape. Now let's just put them aside for a minute, because what I want to show you guys is I had gotten the paint mixer and I did a demonstration with this, and it actually worked pretty well. So what we're going to do is we're only going to need one coat. So what we're doing now is we're mixing the paint. We'll give it a mix, and while that's mixing, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to clean the pieces because there's a lot of flash on it. Okay, so this has been mixing for a couple minutes, and we're all set to use this for the coolers and the sections under the Bussard collectors, and we're also going to put another coat on the surrounding area of the Bussard collectors, because you can see the paint wasn't mixed as well, so we're going to give a second coat to that. And I figured what we're going to do as well, we put the duck egg blue on the nacelle pylon, but you can really hardly see it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and we're going to put the sky blue in its place, just so it's a little more noticeable. So we're going to take the sky blue and we're going to mix that as well. And you wait till you see the difference. Yeah, it's a lot more uniform. So, we can go ahead now is we'll go ahead and we'll paint everything. And because the paint is mixed so well, we're only going to need one coat. There, you can see that's uniform. Really nice. What a difference the paint being mixed well makes. There. And again, the benefits of the paint being so thoroughly mixed, as you can see, instead of looking different in different sections, when it's not mixed properly, it becomes much more uniform, covers everything, and everything looks the same, all the surface areas. Yeah. See how nice and even that is? When it comes to the silver, I think that's just about everything that we needed to do. Again, you can see it's going to be a lot more noticeable than the duck egg blue was. Yeah, it's going to look a lot better. It's going to be a lot more noticeable too. So there's a section at the ends where it's going to be black. See that section? So now we got to go all the way around. There, that looks pretty good. There. There. That's all set. Let's put these aside now. We can let these dry. Okay, so the backs of the nacelles had some time to dry. And you can see that it's pretty noticeable. So I think I'm going to do is we're going to put some of the plastic putty, and we're going to try to smooth them out. There. And we'll let that dry. Okay, so everything had a chance to dry. It's looking pretty good. And what I want to do now is I'm going to start cleaning off the backs of the nacelles. And again, the beauty of the plastic putty is that we don't have to sand. So let's start just cleaning it off. Yeah, looks pretty good. You can see it's maintaining the shape. Okay, we'll let that dry. And the beauty is when we paint it, if there's any little other spots that need to be filled in, we can just fill it in. So we got that done. Everything else is dry, so why don't we think about putting the grills, the cooling pipes onto the back of the nacelles. Make sure that there's no gap there. There. And these are going to go on the back. You can see. You got to make sure that there are no gaps. There. Doesn't that make more sense painting it and then putting it together? When I was a kid, I remember putting it all together and then trying to paint it and just looked terrible. Even worse than it does now. All right, let's put this on the secondary hull, and let's check on the inner ones. So we had to paint these black, so let's see if these are dry. They feel dry. Yeah. A little bit of touching up with the black, with the pen, the black marker, paint marker, just to get it so that it doesn't show. So that's where it's got to go. And make sure that it's straight up the way it needs to be. Again, we're going to make sure that that's standing up straight. Let's put some reinforcing glue. Again, make sure that's straight up, just like that. There we are. It's going to look pretty good when it's dry. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And what we can do, we'll put this aside and let this one dry. Gotta make sure that it's absolutely flush on all sides. This one. And let's find the perfect angle. And again, you got to make sure that it's flush on all sides. Okay, so they had some time to dry, and check it out. I think what we're ready to do now is we're ready to put the pieces underneath. So why don't we go ahead and we're going to move the nacelle end caps for a minute. You can see when the nacelle is on, it's going to be in position, and then we're going to put the registry number on. And the zip tie is actually going to work pretty good. But on the same token, you want to make sure you don't damage it with the zip ties. So that should hold it in place pretty well. So let's try that again with the zip tie. Again, the zip tie can hold it in place. And it's right in the center, lined up with the Bussard collector. All right, so we got to let that dry. And let's bring it out, and we're going to do... Alright, so that's all set. Now, the only thing we need to glue onto the nacelles at this point is the end caps. So let's take a look to give you guys a bit of an update on the end caps. I had to put a second coat over the area that was covering the putty, but came out pretty good. And I think what we're all set to do now is we're actually ready to put the design on. Let's see the other one. Same thing. Make sure it's nice and dry. And actually, at this point, I think we can go ahead and take it off the toothpick. That really helped a lot in painting it. So, let's take a look now. We're going to use some black paint. Now, when it comes to the end, when it comes to the ship that I want, I like the second pilot version. You guys remember, think of the ship that was in Where No Man Has Gone Before in that episode. You can see, like, when you're going through the barrier, you can see the end of the nacelle caps, and it actually looks like this. The one prior to this had the, it was kind of like a strip right down the middle. But this one has a little more design on the end. But you can see there's a part on top and there's a part on the bottom. Maybe we can go over a tad more. There. Now, I know there's probably a template out there for this somewhere, or there might even be a decal, aftermarket decal that you can put on, but I don't have that, so I'm going to show you guys how to make it go from the end cap with the little bubble on it to the second pilot in the 1/650 scale. So I'm going to do this freehand. Just under that now, when it starts to go down, we have the two circles. So let's do that, and we got to center them. You can see the two circles, and now we're going to start to do a little bit more of them. What do you guys think? Remember, this is free, see it. Alright, so there's the kit, and there's mine. So, again, it's freehand, so be kind, guys. Alright, so let's do the same thing for the other one. Alright, so we gotta let that dry. Has the instructions for the decals, but it's not gonna be like the Polar Lights. You guys know the Polar Lights kit. You can do all three different versions, but with this one, specifically limited to the one on the box. What I did was I got a dish of warm water, and what I like to do is I like to put just a drop of the dish soap in it. Now the dish soap, just a drop, it will act as a humectant, and what a humectant actually does is it allows the water to penetrate better. When it's dry, we can put the micro set on. So I think that's everything for the secondary hull. Those are all the decals. sure they're dry enough to handle. Alright, we gotta let that dry now. Comes to the nacelles, we've got the registry markings that go on either side. We got these for the nacelle pylons, and these are going to go underneath where the pylons meet the nacelles. So let's maybe it's going to go just a bit forward. We get the markings on the secondary hull. Okay, we got that. We don't need the white part, by the way, because we've got the light. We've got the nacelles. There was nothing on the top. We got the bottoms. We got the bottom of the hull. We got the sides. We got the numbers. And let me show you how easy they're going to fix into place. They're going to go in just like that. And just like that, it's in. And we'll do the same thing for the other side. Again, show you how simple it is to put this one in. Okay, so let's take you around the ship, and we'll start. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get, let's see, turn it around to the bottom so you guys can see the underside. And because we had put it on the base, that's as far as we could go with the markings that go underneath. Then we go up to underneath the shuttle bay, and then we got the shuttle bay lights going on top. And you guys hopefully can see what we had done for the nacelle caps at the ends. And then going down the side, you can see the beautiful NCC 1701 going down to the nacelle caps. Let's show you guys this side as well. NCC 1701. I thought the nacelles were going to be the easiest part of the ship, but it was more involved than I thought it would be. But I think we're ready now. We can actually move on to the primary hull. So my friends, until, let's see, this was part 4. Until part 5, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon, and I'll see you soon in part number 5.